Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Talking Skritt. I'm your host John, better known as Dare. We're on Yak Spin. We have a fantastic show for you. Wintersday is coming. Update on the Living World Season 4 Episode 5. And some profession balances and much more. But first, let me introduce you to my fellow hosts. He is moderator over at MMO Champion and host of Zero to Hero and Vote to Kick on this very channel. Does he have any clue what he wanted for Wintersday? Say hello to Jim.
Glenn's gaze. And it's back. So I'm happy. Hi, everybody.
That worked out better than I would have thought. I forgot that you were actually seeking that out. So, yeah, I'm glad you finally got it. Can finish your fashion
Finally
wars.
finish off my Guardian, yeah.
And he streams over on Twitch where he answers the age-old question, what Wednesday treats did the RNG gods bestow on him this year? Say hello to Age.
A desert chair, the gecko skin, a lot of glacial weapons. Let's see, 2 out of 3 zodiac armors, Gwen's outfit, iron, that new greatsword we'll talk about in a little bit. But yeah, pretty good stuff.
Awesome. It sounds like you basically got everything.
All the things.
Let us jump right into it. So first off, let's get it out of the way. The update on the Living World Season 4, Episode 5. In the forums this past week, the game director, Mike Z, went and talked about, where Episode 5 is. And he goes to say, as some of you already have put together, Episode 5 will not be released this year. As the episode was coming together and we started to plot out its release, we had to make a tough call regarding its ship date for reasons that have to do both with other in-game content, probably Wintersday, and with the way we treat our teams. As the calendar year winds down, we want to enjoy the revelry of the Wintersday holiday with you while also ensuring that team members can spend the holidays relaxing with their family and friends. We'll soon be able to share details of what is to come, so stay tuned. So, clearly we're not going to get it, this year, which I think everybody figured once Wintersday was rolling around.
Yeah, I mean, if you've paid attention to this game for a while, you probably already knew it wasn't coming. But it's nice that they announced it just to make it official.
I mean, it's kind of weird it would be kind of weird to see a Living Story drop in between Halloween and Wintersday. I mean, we've got two. It would have had to come like right after Halloween left. Like a week after Halloween pulled out, like after they removed Halloween, it would have had to drop then. But otherwise, I don't think the timing would have been good.
Yeah.
Especially if there's any issues or bugs, kind of like what chat's saying, spending time with their family, being relaxed. It's like if they, no one wants to be called into like work when you're trying to relax, when it's like the servers are melting because, 9 times out of 10, something goes wrong, no test environment like live.
I am 100% actually familiar with being called in during a holiday with my previous job. So yeah, I'm not I wouldn't want to do that to anybody.
Yeah, like chat saying, they're glad they're giving their people time off. We're not going to see like mandatory overtime. Speaking of discussing about mandatory overtime, check out Vote to Kick that Malthanis and Age recorded this past Wednesday. Shameless plug.
Yeah, now that I could get Age away from his mandatory overtime, he can be on Vote to Kick.
Yeah.
Oh, it's mandatory, but
crunch time is
crunch time pretty much. Yeah.
I agree. Like, it does give people time to catch up, especially with what we'll be talking about here in a second with the whole Wintersday stuff. They've added a couple new things, but also, another reminder, if you haven't been doing your beetle race at least once a week, like they're doing that contest that you could have a chance to win some pretty nice prizes. I think you can do it's for any region except for the actual traveling prizes, NA only, but you can also take the cash version of it, I believe. I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
You have to check the rules, but I think that's what we were talking about last time.
This week is the.
I want to say it's the Alienware
bundle. No, it's the home entertainment system.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, TV and soundbar.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's still going on. We got that. I think next week's going to be the last week, so definitely make sure to be doing those races if you can. Yeah. Let's not have Arena do a scandal at the last moment, like with the whole Red Dead 2 thing. And
yeah.
Well, I mean, Zach, there's always going to be people getting mad. Like it's just like when Telltale closed, people were mad that they might not get the rest of The Walking Dead, instead of being worried about, you know, the hundreds of people who are suddenly without jobs.
Yeah, that's. I've seen some people, not a lot of people, thankfully, that have been like, oh, you know, it's horrible that they're not putting out the episode. It's like, and for all the reasons we've said before, it's like, they're humans too. Like, they have families. So.
Wrong.
Yeah.
Not permitted to be human.
Yeah, exactly. Tell that to the investors.
Let's not talk about investors.
For the winners, it could be for QD. He's just confused as to why they chose to draw the winners for each week at once at the end of the event. It could be possible that they're just gathering who's entering those races each week, but you know they don't have the feature for, you know, getting it out. I don't know. Could be some technical issue. I can understand that.
Yeah. So that's what it is. They're just holding off until the end of the whole
event. It could be possible they're holding off too, like a marketing thing. I don't know, but just from a technical standpoint, it could be that something's not done and it has to. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem like there's a little stuff there, that there was a couple maybe last minute hiccups, but also, you know, they're probably while Wintersday is going on, like doing some final polishes on the stuff too. So
I don't think they're going to pull an Oprah QED.
And you get a car, and you get a car.
You get a Beetle mount, and you get a Beetle mount.
Everybody gets Beetle. Oh wait, they already did.
Can that be a festival where like there's like a Tyrion Oprah character that just hands out like mount skins?
Great.
We have seats now. She could be like, "Look under your seats, everybody!" Like,
oh my god!
Boom! There we go.
Great. Let's have an event somewhere. What's the most?
Everyone gets a chair. Yeah. Well, there's got to be tiered prizes, like, so you go absolutely crazy if you ever watch those videos where they're like, "Oh, you get a gift card," and it's like, "Oh my god!" And then at the end they're like, "You get a car," and they're like ripping their hair out.
The more you cheer, the more you spam cheer, the better your prize.
Yeah, there you go. You can give out an in-game car skin for the mount. That'd be amazing.
That'd be great.
I can see a dev going, no, absolutely not.
It's like, do it in Mdune. It's just somewhere there. Just make a new section.
Oh yeah, they're chat saying there was a festive hat from Alienware, which was I think it was the original holiday hat that they gave out for free like year one. I know they gave some festive hats out year one, and then they sold them. I don't know if they were still doing that by Christmas, but yeah, they were giving away some through Alienware's website. I already had one, so I didn't really need to, but
you had to do something for it.
I think you had to sign up to their website or something. You know, you had to download their Chai Tea app or whatever. No, wait, that's the different thing.
I remember seeing that actually, but I'm like,
Like I said, I already had one, so I was like, oh, I don't want to take a code when I don't need it, because I think they had like 2,000 of them.
Oh, okay. So if that's the case, I already have it then.
But yeah, any other thoughts on the Living World Season 4, Episode 5? Little update.
I expect this to be good since you gave me that cliffhanger.
No pressure.
Beady eyes. Beady eyes.
To be fair, that the story's like the ramp is good with this, so.
No, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just like,
it returns with Tix and his Infiniarium drilling into Lion's Arch. I might be crossing stories, but
tell you, Scarlet.
It's Christmas forever.
Yeah,
Scarlet will come back.
Oh boy,
watch for that. Yes.
Well, I mean, if we've got Kralkatork rolling into the mists, it's possible we might end up with a mist echo of Scarlet at some point.
Really want to go down this rabbit hole?
Not right now, no. So we should move to the patch.
But yeah, we can always talk more about that. I'm sure in the coming weeks, this is probably going to be the big rush of Wintersday content, which I'm not sure what we'll be talking about for the other weeks, but maybe we'll talk about lore ramifications. But we shall see. But yeah, like I said, this past week, Wintersday has started. It has the normal stuff like Toy Apocalypse, Snowball Mayhem, Winter Wonderland Jumping Puzzle, but also when we showed that teaser last week, I think it seems like everybody was right. The new event, the Secret Lair of the Snowman, it is a 10-man festival raid, and I mean, has anybody if you've gone into it, like how would you rate it on is it hard, easy, hard? A lot of mechanics.
If you've cleared a wing, if you've cleared a raid ring in this game, you can clear this easily. That's all I'll say.
So you're still saying it's probably pretty tough for maybe a new person?
I actually have no idea because I went with my raid group after raids because we want to try it, and we kind of just rolled through it. So I didn't find it hard, but I honestly think it's very easy. So like I feel like if you gather, 1-2 healers and then the rest do whatever, it's fine. But
yeah, I heard some people say like if you're somewhat interested in raiding, this is probably the best introduction because I heard a lot of people saying it is actually easier than any of the raid bosses that you kind of encounter. But it's a good way to get your, dip your toe in type of thing.
Yeah. It honestly does have easy mechanics.
Just be careful dipping your toe in. It's probably cold.
Yeah.
That's what happened to that snowman in that teaser trailer was a block of ice.
Yeah.
I do think there are some special weapons. I think there are like candy cane weapons, like the red ones, I think drop just from Wintersday gifts, if I'm not mistaken. But if you want the special green ones, which you can see here, the wintergreen ones, and always thank you, Dolphin.net. Check out Dolphin.net. See all these skins earlier, and I'll spend your gems more wisely. But we'll get to that stuff later. But unfortunately, it's only like 4 weapons. I think it's the sword, pistol, scepter. What was the last one? But I think the wintergreen ones I think you get
Hammer
from this
makes
raid.
sense. Hammer makes sense because it was in Guild Wars 1, I believe.
Let me see. Like I said, I'm pretty sure maybe chat will know before I do. Was it 3 weapons? I thought it was 4.
Oh, I'd be sad if you didn't get a hammer. Hammer King.
Now chat saying raid wing 7-ish.
Yeah, I think now that I think about it, Carnifex as a raid, I think it makes a great training raid.
Shame that it's not going to be around for the year.
Yeah.
No, I'm looking at Dolphy's website right now, Dolphy.net. It is 4 weapons each, and it's just different skin, like different colorings for so the candy cane ones, yeah, you definitely get them from Wintersday gifts. The wintergreen skins you get from the raid boss, but it is the dagger, pistol, scepter, and sword. So I think I missed the dagger. Yeah.
Not a hammer?
No.
That's weird.
Yeah, because it's what the candy cane hammer is in Toypocalypse.
Yeah, and it was
Yeah.
kind of like a nostalgia thing for Guild Wars 1.
It's like legit made for you. I don't.
Well, I just like it's like I'm surprised they didn't do the hammer. Maybe because it looks so like I mean they all look like the same. It's like literally just turning the thing. Like
Yeah,
it's like it's a pistol now.
that's
It's a
yeah, that's fine. I mean,
yeah. I'm just surprised that they didn't do a hammer, especially
yeah,
because it's kind of been a staple for one
that's
and
yeah,
the
that's
holidays.
interesting, huh?
Oh, the peppermint shield that would have been nice. Yeah, come on,
Gingerbread.
Arena. I guess maybe we need stuff for next year.
Peppermint or
so.
gingerbread shield? Because
Well, I think they had both in Guild Wars 1. They had a gingerbread, just the head of a gingerbread man, and
Mhm.
Pear's linking right now.
Dun, 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 dun,
ah,
dun, 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 dun,
it's
dun,
staring into my soul.
dun, 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 dun.
Ain't it
I
great?
like how the non copyright infringing candies say G and W for the eyes for the gingerbread shield.
Hmm.
I'm gonna close that link now because that's scaring me.
Well, what's wrong with them? But I do think also as a reward, if you do the meta, it's the annual one this year. You actually, as you can see here, as you do so many dailies, you'll get a more wrapped what look like wrapped precursors for weapons, which you'll see there. But also, if you do, I think it's the meta this year, which I think you have to do 7 out of the 8 of or it's the annual one. You get a Frozen Heart mini pet, which I think the actual name was like Freezy or something like that.
Oh, Freezy's heart.
Yeah, that's it. So, are any of you going to try to go after any of the wrapped precursor weapons?
There's a lot of games that have a lot of winter events.
I know that's the tough part.
I'll try, I guess. I'll be casual about it though.
It still would be great. It would break the economy if there was like a quest or something that you could go to unwrap it. Like I said, it would break the economy or make it. Or it's like, why do I need all these like crafting? Like basically, it'd be the equivalent of crafting it yourself type thing. It's like, why would I need like 20 like spider blood or venom to unwrap a present?
Gotta use the spider venom to dissolve the glue on the tape, because it was actually wrapped by your aunt, who uses 2 rolls of packing tape to wrap every present.
And then people don't do it, but that one person does it and gets a legendary, then everyone does it. Great.
But yeah, you can pick those up. Like I said, do the dailies, and also if you get do the annual achievement for, I think you only have to do 7 out of the 8. Good. But also what came with the update was some of the new guild emblems, which you can see here. Let me pull up the thing real quick, and so I can give credit where credit is due. So in the first one you see there was done by and I do apologize, I'll probably butcher some names. Adam Isailovic. Number 2 is Alexandra Kodu. Oh boy, this is gonna be horrible. 3 Angelique Vidme. Number 4 Annalise. Number 5 Anhana. Number 6 was done by Cassandra Logan. Number 7 Changer the Elder. Number 8 was Grace Zhu. Number 9 was Kobold. Number 10 was Pejnik Box. Number 11 Paragear. Number 12 Sayel. And number 13 Tealful Eyes. And number 14 was Vasberg. Is that
yes.
bottom right one literally yes, that one was done by Vasberg. So, but yeah, you can all, if you have control your guild or a spare guild or something, you can actually now have those as one of your guild emblems. And since it's you see the two-tone there, that's kind of the dye channels for it. But oh yeah, it's Lord Farron's undies. Yeah,
I like the revive icon. Not gonna lie, I like that number 13, and I also appreciate the jackalope.
Number 12. I like number 10 a lot.
I feel like for number 8, like we would have to switch over to ours because that's basically like our logo without the globe.
Huh.
Can we implement a globe in there? Then it'll be perfect.
Which one was that again? Number 8?
Yeah, it's the... I mean, basically because it's just a dragon in a circle.
Dragon, yeah.
But...
Huh.
Yeah, awesome work by the community. So, but also what came with the Wintersday patch was some PvP changes, and it looks like Legacy of the Foe Fire made slight adjustments to the waterfall capture point area to address an issue which players could contest the point but were unable to be hit by melee attacks. Yeah, that's a pretty big problem. And a version of the Mistforged Glorious Heroes chest armor without animated visual effects in combat has been added. Going forward, both skins will be unlocked when players buy the chest armor. If a player has already purchased the chest armor, they will be able to collect the skin from the vendor for free. So,
Okay.
But it's a little tweaks to PvP, nothing too major. But any thoughts on the Wintersday event in general and the other little patch notes, which we are going to move into the balance portion of it. We're just trying to get, since that would be the other big chunk of it, we figured get all the other stuff out of the way first.
It's a good patch.
And the raid wing is something that's new and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, would you want to see more or festival raids or whatever?
This is kind of thing, yeah, because it adds more lore to the game, right?
Yeah, I think that was something Zekriok said is would we want to see a raid wing tied to every festival? And yeah, I think it'd be a good opportunity to give people more of a taste of the game mode without the stress of full on raiding.
Yeah.
Yes, and see, that's the thing, Current Effects right there, is they could do a Mad King one year and a Bloody Prince one the next year, and whenever they feel like it, they could just add another raid wing to the festival raid.
That would be cool.
Or you do Ascent to Madness and it just extends it into the raid. Oh, that'd be sick.
Oh my god, no! You have to do a jumping puzzle to get into the raid. No.
That would be perfect. What if because there's that little mausoleum at the bottom too. Like, what if that was the doorway to?
Yes, that'd be so cool. Because
wouldn't that be tough? Because you'd have to have you can only have 5 in Ascent to Madness.
I know, but it'd be so cool.
It would be. Well, I'm now thinking of what the Mad King and Bloody Prince one would be like. What if they just would you fight against them or would you kind of help them? I just imagine there'd be some kind of fight or them mocking Palawa Joko the whole time, and maybe you fight Joko again or something.
I would imagine it would be that General Colonel there.
Oh yeah.
I would imagine we would team up with him to go to war type of thing. And we would have to be on a mission.
We have to save Pumadoo.
I don't know. I feel like something centered around that would be kind of interesting on Mad King.
But I do like the idea of like, because isn't this one just the one boss? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So it's probably like, oh well, they only added like one boss. It's like, I like the idea of, they add maybe another boss next year or every other year or something with even more of these festivals, and then you're gonna have like proper festival raids, which is definitely interesting. But I do like the idea of continuing with the Halloween one, because maybe we'll get the lore progressing more on the Mad King and stuff. Anything to continue that story.
Yeah, I like the lore on Mad King, so it'll be kind of nice to see.
Mm-hmm. But any other thoughts on all that stuff that we just discussed in general?
Mm-mm.
All right, well, let us move on to the profession balance part of the patch. And as we do this normally, instead of trying to go bit by bit through them, because then we'd be here all day, we'll be like, we're just gonna start with this one. And I think actually here, let me link it just in case in chat. I think the first one is the Elementalist. And we'll go bit by bit, but we'll go in the order that it shows on there. So if you do have one that you guys want to talk about, you can kind of plan ahead.
First of all, there's one right before it.
You deserve this.
No.
You deserve this.
No.
Oh, the general one?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, this will give people time to gather their thoughts on the Elementalist. So the general one, first off, was Consume Plasma. This skill has been split between PvP and other game modes, reducing protection from 10 seconds to 4 seconds, and stability from 5 seconds to 2 seconds.
You don't even play PvP. You play WW.
I need protection world versus world.
This is just in PvP, though.
Well, it's
fine in WW.
I need in PvP too. I just want it everywhere. Why?
No, you deserve this.
No.
Okay. The reason this change was made, and this affects foraged skills from the Seamoth and the Pig for Ranger. Consume Plasma is also the ability you get from stealing from Mesmers, and basically it meant that if there was a Mesmer on the enemy team in PvP, you don't want to steal from anybody else, because Consume Plasma gives you all of the boons. So that's why this is a good change, because it's just like, how often can you have steal up? How long do these boons last?
They only did it because the Swindler Equilibrium reset on steal. That sucks.
Yeah?
All right, moving on. Still
Okay,
salty.
Well, let us move on to the Elementalist. And so, what things in the Elementalist were unfair or horrible or...
Actually, Elementalist got buffed.
Yeah, what a shocker.
Like, well, to be fair, they've been getting punched in the face, and it's core class, like spec-wide Elementalist, and also specifically Tempest got buffed, because Overload's water, earth, and fire now affect 10 targets with their beneficial effects. And Overload Water now applies Vigor as well. So, buff to Tempest support for raids, and also in WW blob fighting. And then usability changes for Scepter, which I haven't had a chance to play with yet. And then one of the other things that changed with a lot of the general purpose stuff is anything that does instant damage in a passive way for traits, like the Sunspot, Earth and Blast, Electric Discharge, the traits that would trigger when you swapped attunements that cause just an AoE burst. They can no longer crit, but they had their damage increased. And that happened a lot across the board for a lot of traits. The lightning shock that happens when you swap to lightning is still, it can still crit, but its base damage has been reduced by 50%. So they kind of doubled down on the crit, on like air is for crit builds, because they doubled the crit damage but have the base damage. So if you want the original damage you were getting out of it, you really have to make sure that crits. And that's a general thing across the board. And the other thing that I like is they're putting those like intent blurbs at the top of each of these sections now. I appreciate them adding that back in.
Yeah.
And you're right, QED. It's a nerf, because if you're running DPS as anything, it's, you know, you want to have as much crit as possible because you want to like keep the variance low so your DPS doesn't swing wildly. But at the same time, I think it's one of those things where they're also reducing a lot of the free damage effectively for builds that didn't use crit. I think WW and PvP had a lot to deal with this specifically, but I can understand them wanting to spread this to PvE as well, just because they want damage you do to be a choice that you make, as opposed to just something that happens when you press your button, like as a passive part of your rotation. If that makes sense.
Yeah. The changes look interesting. Can you play Tempest in PvP nowadays or no?
I've been seeing a couple Tempests. I've played it a bunch.
Okay.
You have to be, since it's, you know, usually Oromancer style stuff, you definitely don't want to play it in like bronze or silver, because people don't understand hug the healer or hug the support in those rankings.
In those rankings, you would just stay mid the entire game.
Yeah, well, that works
Try to kill you
until they abandon you and they don't realize that you can't kill yourself, and that a lot of your support and defenses comes from being able to bounce boons and make other people better. And Netco is right. It is still weaker than Firebrand. But if you're going for like a 2 support, 3 DPS kind of build for a team, like if you were actually paying attention to that kind of thing, which is why I say higher. That's the thing, is support is just more effective with more skilled players, because other players know more what other people can do, so they can play around other people better like that.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Okay.
And yeah, Weaver is, and honestly, I don't see Weavers ever anymore. So there's that. But it can be played, but you have to both be good and in a rating that's solid, where people know what they're doing.
Yeah, Weavers are good 1v1 duelists for sure. It's hard to peg one down. Huh.
Yeah, maybe like QD saying, maybe because now that's such a high skill ceiling with Weaver, since it was.
I don't think that's a bad thing though.
No. It's not. No, it's good that it's harder to play. But I think it's one of those things when they doubled down on the healing, like when they basically axed the shit out of Riptide, and you had to double attune water in order to get like the crazy healing out of the water 3 on sword. Mm-hmm. That's when people just kind of said, screw this, it takes too much brain bandwidth to play. I mean, we'll get to it later when we get to Guardian, but they drop kicked Guardian because it was a little brain dead to play in ranked PvP.
Okay. Interesting. Cool.
Right. Any final thoughts on the Elementalist? Now let us move on to the Engineer.
Every nerf that happened here explicitly nerfed Aaron.
Someone watching you stream.
Clearly. But like literally every single nerf in this hit Aaron, and it made me laugh. The Elixir U is no longer, the Toss Elixir U, the tool belt skill for Elixir U no longer gives AoE quickness. Still is an AoE stun break and AoE super speed instead, which is still super useful. They auto Elixir S is gone. They actually replaced the proc skill on that to an Elixir E, which is barrier and protection, which I've seen some scuttle back and forth as people say they prefer it because you can still fight and you're trading off, you know, being completely immune to everything else
Yeah, I guess.
While cooldowns are ticking down to actually being able to do something while you have all that barrier. And that also synergizes with Scrapper now that they actually gave Scrapper all those barrier synergy traits. Because Scrapper will get a lot more barrier out of that. And I think actually a lot, because they usually run a lot more boon duration, they get a lot more out of boons anyway. And it's a sizable chunk of protection. I think it's like 3 to 5 seconds. But I think it's a good skill. That's the only one that I saw a change on for my my engineer that I play in PvP, my Hollow-Smith.
Yeah, I saw someone on Twitter mentioning that they have a Juggernaut build that you were gonna probably try.
That's a PvE build. That is not a PvP build. As much as I love the flamethrower for engineer, you require it's really hard to make really useful in PvP unless you're just in like unranked pub stomp games and you just feel like it. Oh, you hated passive Elixir S, QED? I think they killed it mostly because people would do double Elixir S as they'd wait for it to proc and then they'd hit their utility skill Elixir S. So it would be a lot like when warriors would chain their stances from immunities. They'd have the passive trait proc one, and then they chain the utility skill with it, and they'd have these massive complete invulnerability windows.
Yeah, because you have more control.
Yeah.
Okay. I see.
Any final thoughts on engineer?
Solid changes from both PvP and PvE.
Good luck, Aaron.
He's fine. He'll live.
No, it doesn't sound like that in PvP.
Well, when I was rendering Vote to Kick this week, Wednesday nights when I'm rendering Vote to Kick, I'm usually in his stream while the video renders, and we were talking about he was lamenting the nerfs, but he's like, "Yeah, it deserved it. It was really OP, and I'll miss it."
Yeah,
so, he'll miss it. It sucks, but it was something that just needed.
It was great while it lasted.
Exactly.
But he saw it coming, and probably so many others did. But well, let's move away from the engineer and talk about the Guardian. So what good, what bad happened with the Guardian?
Sounds like buff.
Ooh.
The last hit of the auto attack chain has 2 seconds of burning instead of 1, and the symbol now grants Fury, as opposed to not granting any boon at all, which is new because now it's like bleeding, days on impact, and Fury. So a symbolic axe build is now fairly possible. You can get just this giant days hit, the bleeding, the Fury proc. It's pretty silly. Some buffs to the mantras. Mantra of Potence. I think that's the elite. It's the one that gives quickness, increase to the boon duration. Bunch of shouts. Stand Your Ground is now a 10 target shout.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. Tome of Justice, Tome of Resolve, and Tome of Courage in order, plus 10-second cooldown, plus 10-second cooldown, plus 25-second cooldown. Tome of Courage is now a 75-second cooldown in PvP and WW.
Well, actually, it says Tome of Justice was the only one that said that they were increasing in PvP and Worthy World. Tome of Resolve and Courage, it seems like they're getting that across the board.
I didn't pay attention to that. You're right. Yeah. So yeah, this is the drop kick that Guardian got to make it less brain dead, because there's also a change to Courageous Return, the one that would automatically refresh Virtue of Courage whenever you rallied someone or whenever you rallied. Now it's just a flat minus 10 seconds to the CD if it's on CD while you res someone or while you rally yourself. So support tomes, much less availability in PvP and WW now. And honestly, Tome of Courage was a problem in PvP. Because when you can have a giant resistance protection reflect dome over the point for most of a fight, I would call that a problem.
What, you don't want to go back to those great bunker build days?
To be fair, now that Thieves got a rifle nerf with Death's Judgment, I kind of want to see more Reflex because I want to see more Thieves shooting themselves. But the thing that I actually want to play around with is Glacial Heart has been changed. This was the hammer trait that would proc. It's dumb. Like, I honestly think chill has no purpose on a Guardian. I don't think it still does chill. It still has a chill proc on it, and I still think that's dumb. But it no longer inflicts the AoE now as part of the weapon damage thing. And whenever you disable someone, it hits them with chill, regardless of weapon equipped. This now also changes Mighty Blow, the 2, into Glacial Blow, which increases the damage and chills for 2.5 seconds, but increases the cooldown time from 4 to 6 seconds. So this is, again, a lot like the Necro Scepter trait that changes the one Scepter trait, or the one Scepter skill into an AoE. Yes, Hat, it's still lame, but it's not trash. And you're right, QED, weakness probably would have been better. This is a better version of it. I still don't think chill has anything to do with it. Oh, and they also basically rolled the 20% cooldown, because the 20% cooldown for hammer skills is no longer part of it. The 20% cooldown has just been rolled into hammer baseline.
Okay.
So this is technically buffs to hammer as well as a trait change.
Now, does it actually change the skill's name from Mighty Blow to Glacial Blow?
Yes. I believe it also has...
I think it's kind of interesting, because is there any other skills that actually change the name of the skill?
The Scepter trait. The Scepter trait for Necro changed the 3, and it actually has a new icon and a new name.
Oh, okay. No, I was going to say, I kind of like that, and maybe after we go through all the weapons that make sense type thing, like what if like elite specializations were designed to change around weapons we've already been using type thing?
I'd be down for that.
But
so like another Guardian elite spec, you give them a staff and it just completely changes how staff works effectively. Yeah. Zekriox, I kind of agree with QED. Weakness wouldn't be terrible instead of chill. It's just that this is literally the only instance of chill that is available on a Guardian. So I think it's really out of place. I think during Heart of Thorns, they were talking about changing it to slow, which would have made sense because they had just added slow into the game. But I just think chill is just not. If there was more of a dichotomy between, Guardians, if there was more representation of chill on Guardians.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't really hear about chill builds for a Guardian. Like
if there was like some kind of trait support as a juxtaposition to all the burn that Guardians had access to, I'd be game for that. And they could either add that in, which I think would be much harder than just changing Glacial Heart to do something else. And right, QED is, you're right. There's no real synergy for chill in a Guardian's kit. So that's kind of the bigger issue there. But either way.
Yeah, we could see it expand with an elite spec. Who knows where that could go.
I don't agree with that. And that's kind of the problem with elite specs.
We got Firebrand. Let's have Goldbrand.
This is kind of the problem with some PvP games, is that they try to solve a problem by just adding a new class or a new trait line, and that's not good. That's not good. It makes for terrible. It makes for a bit harder balancing over time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the one worry is, like you're saying, with an elite spec that would maybe specialize more in chill. Well, you're probably already deciding the build of it already, because more than likely you're going to pick up hammer and probably whatever's attached to that weapon, because I'm more than likely they're probably going to add chill to whatever the new weapon would be that they would get.
Yeah.
So it's like you're already pigeonholed into these two weapons. You can't really, if you're going for the chill build.
I kind of like what QED is saying, is making it weakness, because that would also juxtapose, that reduces the enemy's damage, and the symbol on the auto attack chain for hammer is protection. So That's like,
Oh no, I like the idea of weakness, because then you could also play up the idea of, maybe changing, like Mighty Blow. It changes into like what's the issue? Like I've always heard it with like hockey players that like basically if they get like a goalie gets hit in the chest, there's a very slim chance it hits at the same time the heart beats that could basically throw it off balance or something. Like
yeah,
I forget what the actual medical term for it is, but maybe make it that, and then it's like there you go, you have weakness. Like
it's, yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of other ways to do it, and I still think that chill should not have any part of Guardian. But
yeah, at this
honestly,
point it does
I
feel
think
weird and out of place.
this is a step forward for the hammer trait for Guardians, I think. So do we can just skip the Mesmer for the next bit, right? Like nothing happened to Mesmers, right?
Yeah, Mesmer's perfectly fine, right?
Yeah, they're fine. Nothing happened to Mesmers at all.
No one. Well, you know what? Just so people can't get mad at us, we'll talk about what little changes happened with the Mesmer. I mean, like, oh, they can walk backwards now or something, right? That's all that happened. Like,
Mirages got nerfed into the goddamn ground in PvP. They need to do it more.
All right. Here lies Signet of Inspiration. You were an inspiration to all of us. You carried us when we were low.
Deo Q-taps.
Thank you for your service.
Oh, Kitten. I'm sorry. My heart goes out to you. I'm sorry.
Though, Kitten, can I just say I love your Twitter profile pic for the little bit you changed it.
The signet of the
yeah, where it was basically a signet and switched out the had the middle finger raised. It was pretty good.
We talked about it a little bit ago. I think it was before the show. Mesmer was doing too much, and it sucks getting nerfed.
Yeah.
It sucks, and I hate it, and I hate having it happen. But yeah, like Boon Share Raid Chrono, I think it was just doing way too much. So it had to happen at some point. Mirages in PvP got wrecked, and I love it, and they need more of it. Well, there you go, Hat. Congratulations. You escaped.
For now.
The Portal. And this is something that we were talking about during Zero to Hero this past week. Or I was talking to Aaron about it after the fact. Kind of feel like Portal just shouldn't exist.
Oh, but how will I do my daily jumping poses?
It does tend to break a lot of things.
Yeah.
That is an interesting point, QED, that has been kind of rampant throughout all the balances, and I think that might have been one of our worries when they started talking about raids, because we've seen that happen with so many other games that, with WoW and stuff. For people that don't see, it's QED's saying how everything's kind of balanced around the raid mentality and not like 5-man content or.
Well, if you don't skill split, yeah, that's kind of the problem, right? You're gonna look at the most alerting thing that's happening in the game with a profession and balance around that.
Yeah. But I really don't have anything else to say about Mesmer other than that, like, I was expecting it. And the only thing I still think they need to do is they need to tone down the amount of Condi burst Mirages can do in PvP.
Though, actually, there was one thing actually in here. It was jaunts. They killed the number of charges from 3 to 2 in PvP and World as well. That's actually pretty brutal.
Mm-hmm.
That's a brutal change. I don't know if that's required or not, to be honest.
Well, I mean, jaunt, blink, portal. I mean,
I guess, yeah. Well, okay. When you say it like that,
it's one of those things where it's just like jaunt and jaunt is an attack on top of being a teleport. So like, oh, and jaunt is a stun break.
Stun break? I didn't
realize it was that overloaded. Like, what? I knew it was an attack.
And yeah,
that's too much.
Okay, that is too much.
And you were talking about like QED brought up the 5-man content versus balancing for raids. Honestly, I think in the effort to make the elite specs cool, I honestly think they designed a lot of elite specs that are just bad for competitive play. I specifically have that problem with Scourges and Firebrands because they are explicitly designed to be AoE zone control and denial for Firebrand and Scourge, respectively. When the only form of PvP is Capture Point, which requires zone control and zone denial, that's why Firebrand Scourge on point meant that the point was locked for the longest time. And it's still a really tough team to crack.
Well, I mean, it seems like we are dwelling with the Mirage and Mesmer General, but, you know, like Chad's saying, don't get you started on Scourge. Why not? Because it is the next one. You know,
the Necromancer.
Let's talk about the Necro. I mean,
yeah, I was like, someone really likes Necro. There's
nothing wrong with it, right? It's perfectly fine.
That's kind of the problem.
More Reaper buffs, because more Reaper buffs were a thing that needed to happen. Apparently,
I don't understand.
At least they fixed Abrasive Grit. They got rid of the interaction with Sanctuary. They took the internal cooldown off of Abrasive Grit. Abrasive Grit was the lose conditions and gain might on gaining barrier. The reason they nerfed it before and put an internal cooldown on it is because the rune of Sanctuary, when you would whenever you heal, you'd gain barrier. Any Scourge traded in blood had lifesteal. So they were just constantly gaining barrier and might, and they could just have 25 stacks of might by randomly auto-attacking into a crowd and never take any conditions. So now that Abrasive Grit only triggers off of Necromancer skills. So good.
You know, I'm kind of curious to see what the next elite specs are going to be, because like we're all saying, like, you know, like Chat's saying, you know, Necros are still a hot mess and ANET has no clue on how to balance them, it seems. It's like, are we going to get some like lackluster elite specs because they're afraid to push the envelope with them? Because, you know, they did try something with Scourge. Dear God, like you're saying, is it a nightmare in PvP in War v World?
It's not so much that there's anything wrong with the spec itself. It's just its design is antithetical to competitive play because the only competitive play is zone control and denial.
Yeah.
So it is a literal kryptonite to the game type. It's just kind of a perfect storm thing. Ow. Sorry.
So wait, I lose 5 seconds. What was it? 5 seconds on my protection, but I see Reaper's protection. You gain protection for 3 seconds when affected by control effects, and you reduce incoming condition damage by 20%. Okay, it has a trait cooldown 20 seconds.
Yep.
Spectral Walk consumes 1 condition every 20 seconds. It's active up to 6 conditions at its full duration, converting each condition into 4 life force. Spectral Wall turns into a ring, lasts 8 seconds in PvE, 5 seconds in PvP. These are good.
Well, to be fair, the spectral skills needed some updating.
Yeah, but Spectral Walk, really?
I don't know about it, you know, consuming conditions. Like, I don't think that was necessary.
Yeah, at least not up to 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zachary, I think we've always said that is like, it does live up to its name of being a Scourge, but it's not good for a multiplayer game, especially one that's trying to do competitive play. You don't want one that's just ripping things new.
Fear of death. The fear duration bonus of this trait has been increased to 100%. It no longer causes fear when Necromancer is in downstate. Instead, it now grants 15% life force upon what?
It has a 5-second ICD,
No.
You gotta figure you drop Mark 5 from your staff.
What? No.
3 people are in it.
No.
It's 45% life force. Well, actually, no. It should only proc once, and then go on cooldown. So still, you can only get maximum 15% life force every 5 seconds for this. It's additive per target. I thought it could only proc once. Or if you proc it all with the same skill, does it all proc for every single person?
That is broken. Even if it was
as intended.
No, even if it's 15 per life force for one person, no matter how many you hit, you can get easily 30 to 45 within 15 seconds.
Okay, QED is saying 1 per skill.
15 per target.
Oh, so
that is, bro.
It can proc with just the skill, but if the skill hits multiple people and fears them, you get the that's
that's broken. I'm sorry. No, that is broken.
Put it on the box.
You literally burn
when you can get three quarters of your life force in one staff 5. Nah, dog.
Well, what wasn't all the box art with what's her face from Living Story or Necro? Living Story, what's her name?
That's
why am I blanking on her name? Delacroix, that's it.
Marjorie.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Marjorie Delacroix. Like with her on the box, I think it was a lot of her with the raptor and stuff like that. So do you think this is the age of the Necro throughout the expansion? Because boy howdy is a lot of this, looking insane.
See, this is the problem that we have this conversation with Tavik all the time, is that Necro has never hit like its stride in a center point. It's either it's just pinging back and forth between extremes.
Yeah, I know. Like QD's right, because like you go into a fight, you look for the most bunched up people, you throw down a well, you fear people, and then you go in, you go fight, you burn your Reaper Shroud, and just before it ends, you fear everyone again with your 3 if that's still on there. Yep. And you just keep going. And then when it burns out, you probably have your cooldown back from your staff, so you just do it again.
Oh shit, that's right. This will let you generate. Basically, Reapers won't get knocked out of their shroud at the start of a fight because they turn on the 3, gives them stability. They watch their life force drop. They hit the 3. They get the fear off. They generate a crap ton more life force again, and they're still, running around with permanent quickness.
And when it ends, your staff cooldown's probably back up.
Yep.
And then you just have to wait for your Reaper cooldown, and you just go again.
I mean, I hear nothing wrong in this. I mean, I think
that's so
Necromancer player. Yeah, you're right. Sounds great.
So broken.
Yeah, that's.
I kind of want to try it.
I think we need to take that Nerf bat that keeps hitting the Mesmer and maybe take it over to that Necro for a little bit.
If Fear of Death hit, if that procced only 50%, no matter how many people you hit, and maybe you increase the internal cooldown a little bit, it might be better. But jeez,
yeah,
that's so broken.
Oh, by the way, Strength of Undeath has been renamed Soul Battery. Bonus damage has been removed while above life force threshold. Maximum life force increase has gone up 5%. So Death Magic Reapers or Death Magic Necromancers now have 20% bonus life force as opposed to just 15.
That is insanely painful to just like.
Vital persistence no longer reduces recharge. Time of Shroud Seals instead increases the incoming heals and PvE by 20%. 10 PP roll Shroud's vitality bonus is unchanged. Like, just play a Reaper.
Yep.
I like how chat's saying Christmas and Easter hit early or hit at the same time for Necromancers. It's more in the same lines of like a kid when they're like, I want this like expensive toy. It can be my next 5 Christmases and birth. Like you just like cashed in like
Did no one look at this and say, like, maybe this is a little too strong?
Like, honestly, like I can see it in my head. Blood magic, death magic, Reaper, Marauder Amulet, Greatsword Staff.
I have made builds on Reaper where you're not necessarily tanky, but you have a lot of health and you just have a lot of damage thanks to traits. This just adds on to it.
Yep. Give him Runa Sanctuary.
You're just never unseated. If you know what you're doing, you can literally
just survive constantly.
Just survive on a point till you get back up.
Yep.
All the time.
I mean, part of me is kind of okay with being so hard to move because Necros really don't have a way out. Usually. Yeah. Like, I think it's what Fleshworm and the portal skill from Scourge are really their only two escapes, so to speak.
Sure.
So a little extra, like, ability to stand their ground on a point makes sense in a competitive way, but I think that's just too much, especially with the amount of damage they can output in a general sense.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure we could probably spend the whole day talking about the Necromancer and its insanity, but we do have other.
Yeah. Okay.
Any final thoughts on the Necromancer? How perfect it is?
Stop. That's it. That's all I got.
Well, let us move on. I think the next one up is the Ranger. So, did Ranger make it out as nice as Necro?
No, they got punched. They got gut punched, which kind of needed to happen. QED has been talking to me about his Boon Beast build, which is using the Seamoth for the Forage skill. So you conjure Plasma, and then you use it after you use Moa Stance, because I believe Moa Stance extends the durations of boons you apply by a flat value. Moa Stance had its cooldown in PvP almost doubled. A lot of the stances got punched. Bear Stance now will try to remove conditions first and then heal, which is good because you could cleanse poison off of yourself, which makes the heal better. Doliak no longer has Retal. It reduces Condi and physical damage by 33% for the duration.
That's really nice.
Yeah. Griffin is no longer instant and now evades for 1 second in addition to its current effects. So you get to be annoying as like the Griffins do when they do the swoop thing. And apparently there was a problem with spirits in that they could continue to apply their effects after they were killed.
Oh, wow.
Which would be weird. Minor name change for Spirit of Frost because it was called Spirit of Frost instead of Frost Spirit because everything else was X Spirit. The Nature's Vengeance trait was changed. It doesn't give spirits health because they just got that bonus health anyway, baseline. They now have boons. So this is kind of them looking at raids and replacing a bunch of the Mesmer stuff. So Storm Spirit has swiftness, Frost Spirit has might, Spirit of Nature renewal apparently now hits, it was a problem with targeting, like it couldn't hit enough targets, and then Water Spirit has better regen.
I think someone in chat might correct me on this, but I think the Frost Spirit change kind of works well with the Signet of Inspiration change, maybe? Because the Spirit now grants might for 5 seconds for 1 second instead of 3 seconds for 3 stacks. 5 seconds for 1 stack instead of 3 seconds for 3 stacks. I think, and I don't know how much the boon duration increased when you hit Signet of Inspiration, but I think it might work well with it. I might be okay by itself, but I'm trying to do the math in my head.
Basically, you're going to need to layer multiple sources of generation for boons as opposed to just, having a Mesmer handle it for you. So you might have to get like 2 might generators in your team as opposed to having just one, stuff like that. Honestly, Spirits as raid support, I always thought that was kind of the point for them. Because if I remember correctly, that was kind of the point of them in Guild Wars 1, was party support.
Mm-hmm. It's all related to the trait Nature's Vengeance. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of the changes here are basically because that trait used to increase spirit health by 25%, and they just rolled that 25% in baseline, and that's gone. So they added more stuff into the trait.
Okay.
And then, and this I ran into. Soften the Fall. Fixed a bug in which muddy terrain that this trait creates could last much longer than the intended 10-second duration. Yeah, that sucked. It was annoying. I hated dealing with that bug. But all in all, like, fixes it. They're gonna have to come back to spirits, I think, because we already got past that, Aaron. We already got past that.
We poured one out for you, Aaron, for Elixir U.
Hey, you like the super speed now, so it's okay. In general, I think they're gonna have to revisit spirits again because of the bug fix after spirits die, because that was artificially inflating the efficacy numbers of the spirits. So I think they might have to come back and rebuff them again.
Yeah. I don't know if they have metrics on that. Because, for example, if spirits die in a raid fight, but still applying the effects, how much of a difference does that make?
Well, that's the thing, though, is because they were still applying the effect, and then like.
So I want to know, like, how effective that is. Like, that'd be interesting metrics to look at.
Yeah. So that's going to be a time.
Yeah. I really like Doyak stance, though.
Doyak, that's pretty solid.
That's all I got, yeah.
Well, then let us move from a Ranger onto the Revenant. It kind of looks like the Revenant saw a bunch of positive changes. So got a couple buffs like shorter cooldowns, at least in PvE.
Okay. Yeah.
There's any stuff that actually affected PvP? Because I see a lot of that are like PvE only. It didn't seem like they really changed too much PvP base wise.
Yeah, I haven't really. There was a Twitch admin that was in Aaron's chat Wednesday night who was testing out bunker renegade stuff, and I will honestly say that they are one of the first people I saw actually use
Renegade.
The renegade legend. I can't remember her name right now. Kala Scorchrazor.
Scorchrazor, yeah.
So I saw the spirits in play primarily because of the trait Steadfast Rejuvenation. This trait now regenerates health every second for each point of upkeep the Revenant is currently maintaining. They were getting something like, if you hit a full -10 degen, you're getting 700 health a second. Like, you can bunker real hard with that trait. And especially stack that on top of a lot of the dwarf stuff, where a lot of the I think the hammers are like a -5 or 6 on top of the damage reduction they give you and the healing they give when they hit stuff. Yeah, it's Steadfast Rejuvenation is a solid defensive trait right now. And Aaron's right. Like, I watched the fights with Finn in it. Like, it was impressive to watch a, tank renegade of all things.
Eye for an Eye is pretty interesting too.
Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about that at the top. A lot of the on CC the enemy thing that they did, they talked about this in the general sense, is they changed it to buff you as opposed to punish the person who CC'd you, because I think what they said is they don't want to punish people for CCing you, which is what they should be wanting to do anyway.
Yeah.
So, like, don't punish good play is kind of the deal. Eye for an Eye, what is it? protection for 5 seconds when hit by a control, and
Perfect.
5 stacks of might when you break a stun.
Yeah. The 5 stacks of might for 10 seconds is like no cooldown. So you can
you don't really need to do that because how many stun breaks do you have?
It depends how you trade.
So it's not like you're going to be, maintaining 25 stacks of might with no cooldown, because there's there's implied cooldowns to that with the number of stun breaks you have.
Mm-hmm. It's still pretty nice.
Decent changes, buffs to dwarf basically, and then basically clean up from the giant herald rework.
Mm. Yeah, overall, I think it was pretty nice changes for the Revenant. Made out a lot better than some of the professions. But yeah, let's move on to the Thief.
H.
A lot of people thought I'd be mad about Death's Judgment because it can be blocked now, but I'm really not. I thought it was broken at the very beginning anyway. Like if I can hit 40k unblockable, that's kind of broken. So yeah, okay. I don't mind if that can be locked.
Does that mean it can also now be reflected?
No. Wait. That's a good question. I don't know.
Because I would assume.
Yeah.
Because that would be the function of the warrior.
I think you could always reflect it.
Okay.
Because, yeah, you could always reflect it, I think.
I don't know. I've never really looked into that.
QD saying, no, it's not a projectile.
It's not a projectile?
Of my life.
Death's Judgment is not a projectile?
Really? Huh.
How does that work?
Just like a flying bear is not a projectile.
I wish I could reflect bears.
Oh.
Me too.
It has a combo finisher of a physical projectile. Huh.
Sounds like a projectile to me.
That's interesting.
And then a lot of the things on Thief, like that's kind of the big deal. Conjure Plasma is back down here again. Vault, you can no longer blink strike with Vault, the staff 5 for Daredevil.
That really wasn't practical to do, to be honest.
Well, I kind of figured people were trying to do the exact same thing with Heartseeker Strike Steel combo, right?
Yeah, okay. You can combine a lot of things. Like you can buffer in a skill into stealing. Vault was one of those skills, but I found it wasn't highly practical. But yeah, I mean, teach their own. At least when I was trying it, it wasn't practical. Maybe it changed in the last year or so.
I suppose that might depend on a lot of the changes to the runes and everything. I don't know if that affected it, or with stat combos or what have you.
I think it was like maybe the change to Vault in and of itself, or maybe something along the way, because I don't remember being to do Vault into Steel practically. But yeah, everything. There was a lot of weapon changes where it doesn't do percentage damage, but it gives you flat damage, flat power, and then additional power if you have the weapon. I think maybe Sword was the exception to that.
Nope. Sword, Swindler's Equilibrium it doesn't increase damage by percentage, and 120 power, and double that if you're wielding a sword.
Oh, okay, cool. So I kind of like that change because it allows you to use that trait if there's nothing else that's useful for you, because you still get like the power. And the thing is, I kind of did the math for the dagger at least. So you get 160 power with dagger, and comparing it to 5%, it's basically if you have over 3k power, it's a nerf to you, but if you have under that, it's a buff to you. So I think overall it's a buff. That was pretty nice. So maybe it's...
Honestly, I kind of prefer the idea of these kinds of trait changes, because it also allows it to feed into sigils and runes that are or into runes that are stat converters. Like I'd prefer like character like trait options to give raw stats as opposed to percent damage buffs, and then that way your equipment can have the percent damage, the percent modifiers on it.
Yeah, it was Staffmaster that granted the percentage damage. It grants 5% damage when endurance isn't full, which increases to 10% when you have a staff. So yeah, it's good changes in terms of having different trait lines, and you just want increased damage, and there's basically no other good options. So now you have an extra option to choose from, which is pretty good. I'll take it.
Awesome. Let's move away from the thief, and last but not least, talk about the warrior. So, how did the warrior
counter? That's all I got.
Wow.
Yeah. Full counter. Full counter in PvP and WW only does 25% of the damage that it does in PvE. Which, to be fair, full counter is still a sizable hit, but it carries a lot riding on it in PvP.
Okay.
Like, it's a daze, it gives you boons. I think it strips, it removes conditions. It's a very overloaded skill, which makes sense because it's kind of like the core of what Spellbreaker does. So I don't have a problem with that. But I'm not surprised that they slapped the damage for it.
Well, Chad's saying it's actually stronger now.
Well, the days it got increased.
Yeah. It's not used for the damage anymore. It's used for the utility of it. And the utility is strong.
And once you lock down someone on a warrior and you're close enough, you can really wreck their face.
Yeah. So it's pretty crazy. Oh, hey, they buffed my axes. Cool. Again.
Oh.
Love buffing those axes.
Well, they technically nerfed it, but I have to check it. It's now 120 ferocity as opposed to 300 ferocity per axe you're wielding. And I don't know if it's also another 120 regardless of the weapon. So if I'm reading this right, it's a possibility of 360 ferocity while dual wielding axes. Or it's 240 ferocity while dual wielding axes. I'm not.
The amount of ferocity that increases while wielding an axe has been reduced from a maximum of 300 to 120, and warriors can now gain up to 120 ferocity for each axe they are wielding.
Yeah.
So 240 if you wield two axes.
But I don't know, because a lot of the other weapon traits that they did is like there's a baseline and then additive by meeting conditions. So I don't know if it's baseline 120 and then plus 120 per axe.
Oh, this is very confusing text.
Yeah, it's just not very well written.
Warriors now gain up to 120.
Actually, at this point, I'm just going to log in on my warrior and find out.
Yeah, it's okay. So it seems like you have 120. Oh, no, yeah, you're right. So it's base 120 and then 120 if you have a second axe.
No, it's base 120 regardless of weapon.
Yeah. So base 120 for one weapon, and if you have an axe, a second axe, it's another 120.
Well, that's the thing. It's like base 120
so it's 240.
regardless of weapon.
Chad is saying you gain 120 ferocity regardless of the weapon,
right?
And an additional 120 for each axe. So it would be 120, 120, 120.
So 360.
Yes.
No, you can't wield three weapons.
You're not. There's a baseline 120 plus
without any axes. It's if you have a great sword, you get 120 ferocity. But if you have one axe and a shield, you get 240. If you dual wield an axes, you're gonna get 360. Is what Chat's getting at.
Okay. Let me.
That is what?
Okay. Equipment. I have currently gonna take off my axes. Ferocity. I have 200. I'm not in a level 80 zone.
260.
Yeah, 266. Oh, wait. It's like, how's that working in Marauder's gear? I was doing Portmet's lab because I'm trying to get the Predator. Okay, so I have 895 ferocity. I do have the trait slotted.
Okay.
I equip.
895, you said?
I have 895.
Okay.
I equip the first axe. I go up to 958. I'm assuming there's percentage modifiers or scaling in there. I don't know. Oh, wait, because it's also a Marauder axe. So it's like an extra 56 ferocity. So subtract 56 should be 120. And then regardless, I should see a greater than 56 ferocity change if I equip the second axe.
Okay.
Yes, it is definitely plus 360 if you're dual wielding axes. Because I just went from that 958 to 1134.
Huh.
So there we go.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that kind of makes sense. I think that. Yeah. Okay. So it's kind of giving you a baseline, but also making it an axe mastery, so that if you.
Yeah. It's a buff to double axe characters. It's just really poorly worded in the.
Yeah, you should just say axe mastery. You get a baseline of 120 ferocity, and then you gain an
additional 120.
Additional 120 for each axe you wield.
Well, it's just because I think it's because they added the like baseline at the end as opposed to talking about it in the beginning.
But it's no, because it says gain up to 120 ferocity regardless of what weapon they're wielding. So that's confused. That was the part that was confusing me. So if they just said 120 baseline.
Yeah, I was just looking at Forceful Greatsword like Chad is saying, because it's similar to that, but basically the skill no longer does just a flat 10% damage. It now grants 120 power at level 80 and an additional 120 power if the warrior is wielding a greatsword or spear.
Yep. That's a pretty big power bump.
That's really good.
Yeah.
So wait, I need to do maths. So let's say that's.
Oh wait, so it's just a plus 10% damage trait now, on top of the. Jeez, shit's weird, yo.
Level 80 and an additional 120 powers wielding greatsword or spear. So 240.
Yeah, there's a lot of solid traits coming out of this.
Wait, so the 10% still apply? Like maybe
that sounds like a bug. Then
it's either a bug or they mistyped it here, because
it's not supposed to give you a 10% damage buff anymore. It should just be 120 plus an additional 120.
Yeah.
At least that's what it looks like.
Because if what QDIS says right, then it's just a straight up buff.
Then it's a bug.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it sounds like
10% still applies, then it's definitely a bug if it's not.
Because it should be a nerf if you're at 2400 power. Well, no, you break even at 2400 power. Any higher than that, it's a nerf.
Basically, a lot of these seem to be bringing up the worst case scenario for equipping the trait and like nerfing the extremes. So it's kind of like normalizing things.
That's interesting.
Any final thoughts on the warrior?
I like what they did with all the weapon traits. I say that as a dual axe wielding warrior. So
the axe mastery is cool. It's just like it was really confusing. But
it's not that's pretty worded.
Yeah.
Well, any final thoughts on any of the professions, or I mean, how do you think the balance patch was in general? Was it a success, a wash, or?
If you leave Necro as the outlier, I think it was okay.
Yeah, I agree with that. Necro is an outlier. I'm sorry, Mesmers.
Yeah, it's
Mage Man Tether. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a lot of might for basically free. You're right, QED. For PvP, that was basically just a shit ton of might for free. Oh, I'm not apologizing for Mirage. I still want them to get stomped into the dirt. I feel bad more for Raid Chronos.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
the writing was on the wall, but I still feel bad.
And kind of speaking of Raid, I did forget to mention this when we were talking about the Wintersday stuff. Was there is actually a new infusion that you can get? I think isn't it from the Raid itself when you fight the boss? A chance,
Drop, I believe.
Yeah, I thought it was a drop from the Raid boss, but hold on, pull it up here. It is the, what is it called? The toy shell infusion, which basically turns your character wood,
Joy.
like untextured wood. So everybody can be a Sylvari. But
you truly are the stuff of nightmares sometimes.
I am Groot.
Yeah. No age. We are Groot.
We are Groot. If we all have the infusion, yes.
I would make a bad pun, but
next
Oh
topic.
Yeah. Oh no, I set him up. I'm so sorry.
I'm just gonna leave it alone.
Anyway, I'd like to amend the founder's video.
Well, maybe next time we meet up, we'll get to the root of the problem, Malthanis. Sorry, I couldn't resist.
God damn it.
Sorry.
I'm glad I didn't hear that. I just tuned him out for a second there. What's it called? The infusion?
It's the toy shell infusion, but
I prefer Zekriox's name to Pinocchio.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm curious, how many people are gonna go after this, because I like the idea, but it just seems like the wood texture. I think I saw someone say it on Reddit or something where it just feels like someone took a textured Photoshop picture of it and it's slapped in there. I don't know. It just doesn't look that great in my opinion.
It looks like they set it up so that commonly exposed body parts would look better, but it looks like they just slapped a random wood texture mesh over top of the character wrap and
it maps awkwardly.
Yeah.
I'm literally gonna make a Sylvari and just leave him naked and put this on and be Groot.
Yeah, chat saying you can see the weird line on the human male human female texture going across it. It sits weird. It maps weird onto the frame of the character model. But yeah, like I said, I'm pretty sure that drops from the festival raid if you are so inclined to get it.
Don't do it.
And I think you could buy it off the trading post if you really wanna.
Yeah. Or if you're not a fan of it and you're running the raid things, you can probably sell it.
Let's see if you can.
I think I heard some people saying they were.
Yep, toy shell infusion. Wow. There's a concentration one that's super expensive.
Unsurprising.
And toughness one that's super expensive.
And yeah, I look at the lips, and it looks like the lips don't get retextured, and it's just this terrifying mask of a face, and I'm just like, ugh. Yeah. Move to another video, Dave. I don't want to see this anymore.
Okay. Yeah, I figured I forgot that I had that, and I was like, oh yeah, we forgot to mention that real quick. But you can definitely pick that up. But also this week we got a little treat of more behind the voices videos on YouTube with Sam Riegel, Courtney Taylor, and Nolan North. And for people who don't know, if you watch the video, Sam Riegel talks about how he's Bram and also other various NPCs. Courtney Taylor's the voice of Ellen Keel, and Nolan North is the human male player character Morjamoth and Palawa Joka. So, which we kind of talked about last week with some of the other voice actor videos, but What'd you guys think of this one? Or these
Just
three?
just a quick thing about the infusion. You can actually change the stat on it by
Okay.
yeah. So there are recipes on Wiki. Yeah, yeah. Um, I like the behind the scenes because I like voice actors. Like I like the job that they do.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Bram's was the one that was most interesting to me in particular this time around, just because um, just the timeline from Heart of Thorns till now was kind of what made it interesting.
Mm-hmm. I haven't had a chance to watch any of them. I would have watched them yesterday, but my Friday was a little dumb.
Well, I find it funny that it's like ArenaNet posed like, questions. Like I think one was to Sam Riegel. It was like, what little fact do you know about Bram? I wonder if they said whatever you say will make it canon, because didn't he say Bram has a third nipple or something like that? He just randomly said that, and I was like, please let that be canon somehow. Like,
oh man.
Okay, chat's saying he did. So,
Yeah.
and I'm not gonna lie, my anger as soon as nothing against the voice actor, but as soon as Courtney Taylor said I'm the voice of Ellen Keel, I was like, no, didn't vote for you.
Wow. She seemed to like play Ellen Keel kind of like how oh no, what's her name? Who's the voice actor for Jenna?
Oh God! I just knew it until you asked. What was it?
Jennifer Hale.
Jennifer Hale. There you go. It escaped me for a second. So she kind of had like when she went into like that air about her, like they kind of seemed the same in terms of that kind of majestic vibe there, which was interesting. But yeah. And Nolan North is Nolan North, so he's just awesome. And yeah, I do find it interesting that he does play a hero and a villain at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of
cool. But yeah, I mean, if you're interested in it, if you're watching on YouTube, links in the description below. We can throw them in chat here real quick if people are interested. Let me.
Why does it make you sad that he plays many Gildersleeve characters? Oh, right. I remember this discussion. Right. Never mind. I know why.
Okay.
It's because
those are the links to the three behind the voices.
But, because some voice actors, they'll have maybe a main character or they'll play like several NPCs, but sometimes they sound really alike.
Oh, so, okay.
Yeah.
Like Marjorie's sister?
Yeah. There's no hiding that one. They were probably like, geez, we gotta kill this one off quick, so it doesn't seem that obvious, because there was very little overlap.
It's you have to think about it too, because there's only for voice actors, there's like a certain range that they can cover.
Yeah.
Depending on, how much you can do. So Nolan North can cover quite a bit, and you would never realize it until like someone tells you, or it's like shows up in a video, and it's like for the longest time I didn't even realize he played Desmond Miles in Assassin's Creed. So I'm like, oh crap.
Yeah. Any other thoughts of the behind the voices?
I like seeing these. A+, keep doing more.
Well, see, they must have heard you last week when you said you would like seeing them, because they threw out 3 this week. They were like,
yeah. What do I want to see actually?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. Whose voice actor, like what character's voice actor would you guys want to see? That's in the chat. I'd love to hear your.
I'd down to hear Casimir actually.
Yeah.
And Marjorie.
To be honest, I'm not worried about their reusing of voice actors, because they, like, a lot of the times NPCs just kind of like, you don't really remember the NPCs. It's not a Bethesda game. Like it's not Fallout or Skyrim, where it's just like every other character is the same voice actor.
Yeah, there's a little bit more variation.
So,
you want to know who voiced all the Skritt? The female Sylvari is the best voice acted in the game. Yeah, that's
Jennifer
Hale.
Yeah. Then you have like people like Scott McNeil who can do like an insane amount of ranges.
I won't lie, when Jim, when you said Casimir, I'd like to see them reenact Casimir and all the scenes with Casimir and Farron, like starting with like the personal story for the human noble where he's just hitting on him or hitting on her, and then like let's like fast forward to
did we get a behind the scenes with Farron's voice actor? I don't remember. I want to say we did.
Yeah, I was like, it's been a while. Oh,
that'd be great.
Was he Troy Baker in the videos? That'd be cool. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Chat's saying yes, we did. They're a Japanese dub. I don't believe so.
Unfortunately. Okay, so we did. It's like I think we did, because I remember distinctly there was a little friend. I have to go back and watch it. Yeah, there we go. Thank you, Pat. That makes sense. That's good times. But yeah, I would like to see Casimir and Marjorie's voice actors. I think that kind of rounds out everyone in the Dragon's Watch roster.
I would like to see like the different player character voice actors, both male and female, kind of, because I've grown fond of the male Sylvari voice having a Sylvari Necro, just like, I don't know, I just how so careless they are of it. It's like, oh, I'll make more of you. It's like, whatever. Like I'd like to see the voice actor.
There goes another one. I suppose I'll have to more.
So definitely would like to kind of see all the player character gender and races.
Interesting to go through.
But so definitely check that out. Nolan is the man.
Nolan is the man.
But next up we have Gem Store, and always thank you to Delphi.net. Check out Delphi.net so you can spend your gems more wisely. But actually, first up, the first thing is that actually a free item. You can get the mini Trailblazer Roller Beetle, and I do want to specify that's mini, because I know a lot of people made that mistake. They thought it was going to be the Trailblazer Roller Beetle skin. Granted, you can get that. I think it's one of the ones in one of the boxes for random mount skins, or you can pay the extra gems to get it definitively. But this is just for the mini. But yeah, it is currently free in the gem store, so definitely make sure to pick that up. But a new weapon skin set is actually in the gem store, and that is the orchestral weapon skins, and you can see them here. They are one Blackline claim ticket each, so they are tradable. So if maybe you don't have Blackline claim tickets, you can always get it from the trading post. But the way you get the Blackline claim tickets is chance out of the Blackline chest.
Here. Aaron's here. Aaron, let's go. What do you think?
No.
They're very cool, in my opinion. Like that greatsword, cool.
What are you talking about? That's an axe.
Axe, greatsword, guitar. Axe, guitar, greatsword.
Cool. I'm well-designed stupidity. Yeah, I like the mace. Somebody needs to do a Weird Al cosplay character. a Weird Al warrior
I
dual
kind of
wielding
like the shield sword combo because it's like you basically have your like, I'm assuming with the size of it, a cello. But basically you have your cello and then also like the bowstring for the sword.
Yeah.
And they have a
That's-
unique draw. Okay.
Yeah, since these are just the pictures, because I could have got the video from Dolphy.net, but it would have still been silent. It doesn't do it justice. Check it out on Dolphy.net. You can hear all the sound effects and stuff like that. I mean,
that is a staff, by the way.
That staff is nuts.
We'll whack people with it.
level 80 legendary Silvari salads.
That's the first Warhorn I think I actually like. Oh no, wait, there it is. That was the torch. My bad.
Yeah, it's like there are 3 of horns.
The one-handed axe is just really cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they did an awesome job with it. Definitely a unique take on like I don't want to say a goofy concept, but
yeah.
I wouldn't call any of it super goofy, but it's like this is the kind of stuff that people would draw for like their high-level bards in D&D campaigns. Like this is the kind of weapons they'd be using. So I appreciate all of this.
If I only give out boons and wield one of these weapons, am I technically a bard?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, do you have the minstrel focus?
No, but I could buy the precursor.
I was waiting for you to say no, not yet.
I need to make one more legendary to end the year to break even. I can't do 6 this year, but
yeah, this is very much D&D bard cringe, like 100%, and it's fantastic, and I love it. Like I actually like the rifle and the pistol for once, and that's difficult.
But yeah, so you can pick those up, or like we said, you can get them from the trading post if you got the gold for it. But also originally it came out, I think, just in the Black Lion chest, but it finally came out in the gem store for 2,000 gems, and that is the new mount, the Sun Temple Gecko Springer skin. And remember, it is a skin. This doesn't unlock the mount or anything like that. It just gives you the skin. If you don't have the mount yet, skin will be waiting there for you. If you yeah, but I think it's an uncommon drop also in the Black Lion chest. So if you want to take that risk and hopefully unlock it through there, you can get it there for possibly cheaper. Or pay just 2,000 gems and you'll get it right then and there.
It looks weird.
It does look weird.
It looks weird, but I got it for free.
It licks its own eyeball.
Well, I mean, they do that.
I mean, geckos do that, but
it'd be weird if the bunny did that.
It's way to make all the mounts into reptiles. Technically, the raptor is a reptile.
Then they don't have very far to go with that one.
4 more to go. Sorry.
Yeah, would you recommend the gecko mount for anyone?
If you like it, pretty much. Which, I got it in Black Lion chest. It was probably around 50th chest I opened, 50th 75. So don't expect to get it.
Yeah, you could. It's one of those things. You could be lucky and get it before the $20 price point, or you weren't initially going for that. You were just that evening.
No,
you
I
were
was
opening X amount. Yeah, exactly.
He opened 2 stacks of chests.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So you can pick that up in the gem store for 2,000 gems, or like I said, the uncommon Black Lion chest drop. But yeah, there's also other things in the Black Lion chest when they updated it. Looks like they updated it to the Winter Wonders chest. So guaranteed you're going to get the Evan Nash Blade Wintersday gift and a Black Lion statuette. Uncommon, like we showed you, this Sun Temple Gecko Springer skin. But also you will get the Iron Beast Greatsword, which you can see right here, showing it off. Nice, cool particle effects.
This is the most metal greatsword in this game.
Yeah, it has like steam coming off of it. But
it's so good.
You can only get it from the Black Lion chest. There's no like definitive way to go buy it. I don't think it's tradable either. I don't.
It's the chainsaw sword from Halloween,
but better.
Slightly
so good.
Slightly better textures and a particle effect. One additional particle effect.
Snap.
I'm not impressed.
Oh.
Get out.
I like this. This is when Aaron complains about the hot dog on stick greatswords, this is what I see. This is too goddamn big.
I'm putting it on a char. It'll work on a char.
Oh,
no, because it just scales up the model and it's too big.
I can't ban Aaron.
I feel like Age has been betrayed because not only has Jim said, now Aaron said it sucked as well.
Can I ban Aaron? Is that okay?
I mean, I think you can. Or
no, don't.
Oh no.
Like the handle's too thin, the haft is too short, the engine is too large, the blade is too wide.
That's why it's so good.
Yeah, but it looks cartoony instead of
what? No.
It doesn't look like it should stay together.
Dragon magic. Stays together.
Wow.
My suspension of disbelief can only go so far.
It's so good.
I mean, it looks cool looking, but for realism's sake, yeah, it's not gonna be a functional thing. But
I'm not like, see, that's the thing. Is like I can ignore realism. Like I'm not bothered by that. It's just like when they're going for super cool, they've shot past that and hit cartoony with this. Like I expect a villain in a Roger Rabbit style cartoon to whip out something like this. But that's me. I don't like it. I'm not going to fault anyone who says they like it. Go for it.
So good.
I wouldn't say I'd be particularly happy if I got it. I don't think I'd ever equip it on a character.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it feels like it should be on a char.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, you're right. It's a very char weapon, but I don't know. Maybe because Dolphy always uses a human female to showcase the weapons, like that's why it's looking extra cartoony to me. Like maybe this would look just 100% better on a char with the way, like
yeah, because as it is on a human, I have to agree with like how Aaron's saying. It kind of looks like a cosplayer that would take like they always have the anime sword that just looks so.
Yeah, that's why I like
it.
Yeah, that's why I like it, because it's just so, and it does have that anime impracticability on it. But I feel like in a char's hand, it feels right at home. Because that's the first thought I had. Like I need to make a char warrior.
And did you?
Probably.
I need to buy character slots.
You weren't prepared for this?
I was not prepared for this. I literally logged in on Tuesday and opened boxes for like 2 hours.
I can only imagine cataloging all of the loot was the most difficult part.
Wow. I did make Shushu, but that was just to spite you. And I also have the Nico the Legendary. Oh yeah, I need to make the Balthazar one.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I'm not a fan. So that's me.
Oh, and
this is coming from somebody who likes Warhammer 40k. So like this should be up my alley.
True, yeah.
But it's just not.
Well, also from the Black Lion chests, you can, as a rare drop, get Glacial and Wintersday weapons. So, but these are kind of the two things that people are mostly going after, is this great sword and also that gecko Springer skin. But
chain great swords are great.
But any other thoughts on the gem store itself?
I have my Glint's Gaze mask. It's back, and I'm happy with that. And that's all I really cared about.
Awesome.
Thank you, Aaron, by the way. I appreciate that.
For the heads up, yeah. Also, and last up, we usually do community corner, but we actually didn't have any submissions or anything like that this week. So if you do want to do that,
have a downtime like the community.
I'm just throwing it out there. If they want to, on our Discord, if you link in our on our Twitch page, or if you're watching this on YouTube, link in the description. We have a section that's just for kind of like plugging, like self-promotion type stuff. If it's Guild Wars 2 related, we'll show it on here. If in the future when we do other shows, maybe if it rolls into something other than that stuff, we'll throw the other stuff in there. But if it's Guild Wars 2 related, like if, last week we talked about Crew's Ranger build and all that stuff, and so love to see stuff around the Guild Wars 2 community if you have it. But yeah, that looks like it is it for this week. And Jim, where can they find you?
I can be found on Twitter at MelFanusMMO. You can also find me here on twitch.tv/MadRooms every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time for Vote to Kick, where we discuss various things in the gaming industry and whether to keep or kick them. And then afterwards, we've got PvP shenanigans in Guild Wars 2 with 0 to Hero. I am steadily falling out of gold. I think I'm still gold 3. I can't remember. I try to block out things, but
just play a Reaper, you'll be fine.
Maybe I should do that. Maybe I should swap from Hollow to Reaper and just abuse the hell out of that. Why not, right?
And we actually got a bot now, so when you're watching Vote to Kick, instead of us every once in a while have to throw out the poll, you just do !poll.
I have to set up the help command so that people can just type that to get all the chat commands.
Yeah, and then we'll have to always add to it. But anyway, that's there for that. And Age, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube, Age Night Road. I gotta throw up the highlights of my box opening eventually. And I am planning to do leveling for Archer and BDO because that's new, and you get like free gold if you just level them up. So might stream that. Still need to fix my Elgato for Smash, and probably stream some Guild Wars next week as well.
Awesome. And you can find me at simply_Dale on Twitch and Twitter. And I made a horrible, well, it's a great investment for me, but it was a lot of money. I bought a new brainwave device. Once that comes in, I do want to plan on going through Destiny's story. Destiny 2, sorry. So I'm kind of like saving that since I don't like really know what happened in that as like a fresh experience. But I've been mostly spending a lot of time switching things around for the background for this channel, but also making a new layout because that's new software for the brainwave device. So that should be fun to unveil here and all that stuff. But if you are popping at the very end, do stick around. We do a bit of an after show. If you do want to watch us in full, we do highlight it on Twitch, which twitch.tv/MadRealms. That usually goes up later in the evening. If you do prefer on YouTube, we put it up on Sundays at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, and that's that's youtube.com/MadRealms, 2 A's in the Mad. If you want this all in one nice little easy place, just go to madrealms.com. That's 2 A's in the Mad. That's where we put kind of all our videos there. That goes up right around the same time as the YouTube stuff. But that is also right now the only place you can get the audio version. I know a lot of people wanted it for this podcast. And it's usually in the same box link as the video. And we are looking to try to get it on the other like Google Play and iTunes and stuff like that. But that's always fun jumping through those hoops. But that looks like that is it for this week. And we'll see everybody next time, and always in the game. Good night, everybody.
Good night, friends.
Hey guys.